Do we have a show for you today? Today we're going to be talking about France calls for restriction of Allergan textured implants. A blogger claims that breast implants cause body odor, acne, hair loss, and weight gain. And then finally, 7 plastic surgery trends you'll want to know about for 2019. And do we have a group to give you some insights? We've got Dr. Lee Thornton from Meridian, Mississippi, Dr. Anup Patel from Orlando, Florida, Dr. Dan Del Vecchio from Boston, Massachusetts, and last but not least, Dr. Jason Pozner from Boca Raton. Straight into it. This is hot off the press. So just 2 days ago, the CE mark, which is the equivalent to FDA approval, was not renewed for a set of Allergan breast implants. They're texture breast implants, and they wanted more safety information. And then just recently, in the past couple hours, the French counterpart to the FDA, which is called the ASSM, which is the National Security Agency of Medicines and Health Products, asked Allergan to remove all their texture devices from all healthcare facilities until they received a renewal of their CE mark. So, you know, Jason, lead us off on this one. What do you think about this?
Yeah, so I mean, the issue is this. I mean, in clinical practice, as we were talking about, I mostly use silicone, smooth silicone implants. So it really doesn't affect clinical practice, even if the FDA followed suit with this. But, you know, a couple things with this is, you know, should this regulatory body do this with such small amounts of cases? They're worried about ALCL and long-term use of textured devices. They want more information. These products have been on the market for a number of years. The rates of ALCL are super low. But again, you know what? One thing is, they probably should have studied these, but not pulled them off the market. Would have been the smarter move, asking for more information. But I think the problem is really it's going to be in the recon patients. The breast aug patients, we can switch certainly smooth to a smooth device, which is what most of us use in clinical practice. But you do need a textured expander because you don't want those smooth expanders that kind of move around a little bit. So I think that's really going to be a hindrance to the cancer patients out there who need a textured device to really build their skin tissue up.
Lee, what's your input on this?
So I would agree. You know, I think we do have enough data that makes it easy enough to say the regulatory body in France shouldn't have removed these textured devices from the market. I think that's a far reach, and I don't think any of the regulatory bodies should go that direction. I think fostering studies, asking questions, that's all fine. But with the data we have now, I think that was a good bit of an overreach.
I mean, what about patient choice? Is this not limiting patient choice, and should it be the patient with their counseling from their doctor that are making those decisions, or should it be a regulator?
Yeah, so I think this sets a bad precedent, as we all discussed, that the regulatory body is overseeing the physician, particularly a plastic surgeon, in determining what patients' options are. In fact, what you alluded to is the way that we should do it, that the plastic surgeon sits down with the patient, goes through the options, and reviews the scientific data critically. And what the regulatory body has done in Europe is setting a precedent that regulatory bodies are now going to become in charge, and that the plastic surgeon is going to go to the back seat, and the regulatory body is going to speak to the patient about what is safe, and that is incorrect.
Del Vecchio, we just were talking about other things, governmental agencies banning other procedures, things like that recently. So I'm sure you have an opinion on this. What say you?
I say that this is totally what I expected, and I don't think they made a mistake. The regulatory bodies have more power than we do, number one. Number two, they don't care about cosmetic outcomes of having the textured implants and reconstruction. They care more about public health and patient safety, and they'd rather compromise a reconstructive result than have another patient get ALCL.
Protect the public health. Wait, Dan, sorry. First of all, you're telling me that the regulators there protect the public, so they're gonna like ban texture at a whim, limit patient choice based on no data, but they won't limit a guy that has no surgical training from doing a surgical procedure and killing a patient. To me, that's the part that the regulators should be doing that. So they won't take a guy who has no surgical training that claims to be some sort of cosmetic surgeon that wants to operate on people without training, and they won't restrict that, but they want to restrict choice for a texture device. Go figure that.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and I think it's a good analogy. The problem, Bill, is that they don't have to regulate human beings. They just have to regulate a device by doing this. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm saying it's not a surprise to me.
So I tell you my perspective on it, and I think it's damage control by the French regulatory body. They feel bad about the PIP scandal when they had implants were being filled by silicone gel that was used to fill mattresses, and they caused a big, you know what, and now it's a CYA deal, and now that they have, based on no data, the data doesn't support that this isn't a textured problem. Texture's just a carrier of what's causing the chronic inflammation, the disease, which is bacteria. And if you look at the data that's out there, that's well supported, and just to remove the devices is a very short-sighted solution. It's not a solution. So I think it's a CYA deal by the French. I don't think this will be a long-lasting deal. I think it's basically on once Allergan resubmits, they probably will get their CE mark back within the next 1 to 2 months. And I think at that point, it will become, again, a choice between patients and their doctor. And I think it may be that, that's like you've heard here from the experts, a lot of people in the United States aren't using texture. That's based on their experience and choices. But I think that's where it needs to lie. Every time governments and regulators get involved in limiting patient choices, it's a bad thing. Let's move on to the next one. This is a fitness blogger. Let's go with you, DDV, to lead up. This is a fitness blogger who claimed her breast implants caused body odor, acne, hair loss, and weight gain. What do you think?
Oh God, come on. It's a fitness blogger. What can you say? This is the old, we just have to have like automatic buttons, like play this for the response. This is the one media hungry person who's getting no attention, no likes and no followers on an Instagram page, trying to say something outrageous to get more engagement. The end.
Anup, what do you think?
Same thing. Couldn't agree more with DDV. The fitness blogger here is looking for attention. It's become a media frenzy to try to say that all implants are bad. People are making a killing, I guess, trying to explant these implants, and then they're justifying the explantation. Even some people at the meeting that we were just at Florida were saying that they have a practice that comprises of just explantation. These are board certified plastic surgeons. It's a shame. How can removing an implant remove body odor?
And I think, Lee, I want you to speak a little bit more in general about this, because I think what's important, obviously this is an absurd concept that this was caused by this, but I think what's salient is in this current era, in the past year or two, some of the stuff you hear about, there's a lot more platforms for people that kind of air out concerns, but this is the stuff you hear, and what happens is it gets collected and basically used as, this is scientific data. Oh, well, this happened to this person, so it obviously must occur, and you have other people that have these platforms they can get on. It's not the same. This is certainly not scientific data, but there's a lot of this out there. And it's a problem because it's possible in this day and age of social media.
I totally agree. I think it is a problem. And I think we as a group of board certified plastic surgeons have probably not addressed this as well as we should. When you look at the blogs that are out there, and there are sites dedicated to this mysterious breast implant illness with lists of surgeons that provide complete capsulectomy, and they go into a lot of detail of how the procedure should be done. And, it really is absurd. And there are a lot of plastic surgeons who jump onto this, I guess, to garner more cases and, kind of buy into it. And if nothing else, maybe they don't, totally agree with the patient, but they're sure sitting there with a head nod as they're seeing the patients in consultation to go do their explant and capsulectomy. In this case, it sounds like she's a fitness blogger that's getting a little too much testosterone that's causing these problems, not implants.
Let's look at this case specifically. So if you had this woman who had some abnormal to her hormone levels, somehow had the implants out, and then the hormone levels returned to normal, then I could say in this anecdotal case, at least maybe there was some cause and response where you take the implants out and her hormone levels get better. However, in this case, all her testing was completely normal, but once they're out, she felt a little bit better. I really can't put my finger on that as to actually what happened. Again, then we talk about the capsules. These patients come in and they want capsulectomies to feel better. And I think that's a relatively traumatic case to do on somebody who doesn't have a problem with capsule contracture. But I don't like these people trying to tell everyone else that you should remove their implants and you're going to feel better. And women are, tons of women out there, millions of them are super happy with the way they feel with their breast implants. They love their looks. They feel sexy. And these women are shaming these women into making themselves feel bad because they have something that makes them happy. And that's the problem I have with it.
Yeah, and I think, Jason, you're right. You talked about there's probably some placebo effect sometimes. And, but at the end of the day, if some patient wants to have their implants out and they are counseled appropriately and they want to have them out, that's fine. And most people, certainly the way I handle that, we go ahead and remove the implants as the patient wants. But they do need to be counseled appropriately. They do need to be seen if they have some symptoms that maybe are something else that needs to be worked up appropriately. So it's not just, I've had my implants 20 years and I'm more tired now and I need to have a capsulectomy. I mean, you need to have more information. Let's end up with our last topic. These are the top 7 trends for 2019. There's a lot of them, different ones there, but what did you guys think? Jason, you lead us off.
I think this was sort of a nice article where they got some nice docs to have their names in the paper about things that we're doing and the trends that we're seeing. And I agree with almost all the trends, I guess all the trends. You know what? We're doing a lot of Botox and fillers. Yes, we are. There's no question. People are getting a lot more minimally invasive procedures. I agree with that. People want a more natural look that doesn't look too pulled, too tight, too done. I completely agree with that. Technology is improving. There's lots of new stuff coming out over the next few years that's going to be minimally invasive, that's going to really help us. So those are the trends that I've been seeing in the last few years in the practice, and that's why I love all these devices that we're talking about all the time, because the trends for me is less invasive, good results, natural look, just kind of basically what we're doing every day in our practice. This is no surprise to us.
So one of the things I had there was about preventative treatments that are going to become big. You guys do a lot of different stuff in your practice. I mean, what do you think about preventative treatments?
So, I actually have talked to patients about this for years. It's interesting when you get the really young Botox patient in that your first impression is, this patient is here too early. But, when patients do come early, and just take Botox, for example, since most everyone knows how it works and knows what we do with it. When you have patients that come in, not prior to the development of any wrinkles that remain when their face is in repose, but just the earliest beginnings, and they start to get Botox. One thing is they can do it less frequently. They don't have to do it every 3 or 4 months. They can, do it every 6 to 8 months. Over their lifetime, if that's a concern that they have, they're probably going to have a lot less money outlay, expense, and product use if they do kind of preventative treatment. So, I think, look, we're in the business of fighting aging, and what's better than treating but preventing? And, you have to, this can be a slippery slope, but I think, as the devices are getting less invasive, our fillers are getting, really more versatile with more choices. I think it's a great way to go.
Yeah, I don't think there's any major surprises here that non-invasive surgeries such as Botox and fillers are a way to garner patients that will actually start trusting you for more surgical interventions that are more in depth. The one thing that I do find that is still happening, particularly in the Orlando area and particularly the Florida area, is medical tourism. I don't think I'm seeing a decline in that. Every week I see somebody, or every 2 weeks, that has gone overseas and then has some sort of complication. Medical tourism is on the rise, I think, in the state of Florida. You could even say that it's not even going out of the country. Some people are going to non-board certified plastic surgeons in these chop shops and just getting butchered. And some of the things is they're trying to convince these younger patients who are in the college area that no, there's no way in the state of Florida that I could offer you a breast augmentation and a rhinoplasty for $900. Implants alone cost that. So those are hard markets to compete with. But I think what we're seeing is that as these people are seeing the complications that go along with them, that medical tourism hopefully will decrease just from the media picking up these stories rather than focusing on breast implant illnesses.
Great stuff, guys. If you want to see more of this, we'll see it on the plasticsurgerychannel.com.